Alright, what I'm going to do is 3 videos because there's 3 things that go into welding procedures. The first video will be on a welder procedure specification, or a WPS. The second video will be on a procedure qualification record. And the third will be a welder qualification test record. These are all things that are associated with getting certified in welding. The WPS, is basically a proposition for a process that needs to be proven good. The procedure qualification record is what you do to prove that the WPS is good, and then the welder qualification test records are when you certify the welders to the PQR, they become a certified welder. So there'll be 3 videos, one on WPS, one on the PQR, and one on the WQTR. This being the first video of a 3 video series on welder certification. The first one is going to be on welding procedure specifications. Like I said before, it's like a proposition for a process that's going to be used at a company. This is all hypothetical, so there's not a real company here. But the first thing you're going to do when you write a WPS is go into your general info. It's going to ask you your company name. So we're just going to make it up and say that it's Company A. Authorized by, it's going to be some kind of foreman or manager or owner or something along them lines. So we're just going to say by some kind of boss. The date, December 9th, 2014. Revision, I always start with 00, and if you do a revision it goes to 01, 02 consecutively. It's going to be the same date. By, and that would be your CWI, Certified Welding Inspector, which would be me. What we're going to do is we're going to do a stick weld, and we're going to do a pretend stick weld, so it's going to be the only process we're going to do here is SMAW. And you never leave any of these blank. They always have to have something in them. So if there's, otherwise it leaves a doubt in the mind of whoever's reading it. Was that left out or was it purposely left blank? So I always put NA, not applicable. That's if you had a pre-qualified joint. Supporting PQR numbers, there shouldn't be any if you're just starting out, so all those are going to be NA. So once you do one, you just copy and paste it. PQR, how to write that, is going to be the next video I do. It's the normal sequence you would go into if you were doing this. It's a manual process. Your base metal specs, we're just going to assume they're going to be using an A36 steel. It's very common. We don't really have a type of grade. And we're going to go with a vertical up, like I said. Let's just say it's a 3/8 groove thickness, 0.375 to another 0.375. That's going to be in inches. Fillets, there is none, so again you're going to do your NAs. Diameter pipe, we're not doing pipe, so it's going to be NAs again. Specification, I believe, is A5.9. That's the only one we're using, so we're going to NA. AWS classification, we're going to say this is ER 7018. the only one we're going to use in our theory process here. Flux, that's for submerged arc. Gas for MIG, so we don't care about that. Composition of the gas. Flow rate, again, we don't care. Gas cup size, we don't care. Post-weld heat treatment, we're not going to do any of that. That's sometimes required. Joint or position. Joint design used. We're going to do a butt joint. We're going to do a single weld. We're going to make it easy on them and put backing in there. Backing material is going to be the same as the rest of it, A36, with a root opening of 1/4 of an inch. Root face dimension, we're going to keep it a point, so I'm just going to put on non-applicable. Groove angle, we'll go 30 degrees. Radius, non-applicable. We're not going to back gouge, so there is no method. It's in a 3G position. That way it'll qualify you, and we're going to do this according to, again, the AWSD 1.1 structural steel welding code. That's kind of what we use. The position is 3G, so it's going to give you, it's going to pre-qualify you for numerous positions. It'll qualify you for 1G, 2G, and also 1F, 2F, and 3F in the fillet weld world. But we don't have to do that. This is going to actually ask you to draw the joint, so you go to Edit, Weld Draw. We'll go to the joint first with backing. Thickness 0.5, root opening, that's 0.25, that's our 1/4 of an inch. Root face, it's going to be 0. Groove angle 60, okay. There it is. Stretch it out here. One thing I always do is see how it comes out in blue, and if you don't have a color printer, you need to change that to black. Otherwise, it won't be able to be printed and be able to be seen. Okay. And if you don't notice it, you'll hand it to your customer and they'll say, hey, what's the dimensions on this? So we'll go back to weld draw. We're going to do a welding symbol now. Again, you see this orange, get rid of that right now. It looks good. So we're going to hit OK. Stretch it out so you can actually see it. There's your little, I guess, this little print. Hit X. It asks you to transfer it back. Transfer, yes. So there's your joint. And here we're going to go into transfer modes for MIG, which we're not doing MIG, so it doesn't matter. Now it's asking you for your polarity. Typically you're going to do direct current electrode positive with stick. There is no other. Tungsten. We're not using tungsten, so we're going to get rid of that. We're not doing TIG. Preheat minimum temperature. I used to put down ambient, so that'd be like 70 degrees. And I sent it to a couple customers, and they said, I don't want ambient, I want an exact degree. So I always put in 70. Degrees Fahrenheit. Inner pass temperature again, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And a max of 250 degrees Fahrenheit, because you are, and the inner pass does matter because you're going to be doing multiple passes on this. You're not going to be able to fill that joint up with one pass. Stringer or weave bead, I always put down both. I like to leave that up to the welder. Multi-pass per side, it's definitely going to be a multi-pass. Number of electrodes, we're using 1. Contact tip to work distance doesn't matter because there's no contact tip. electrode spacing. That's for like sub-arc if there was a number of wires coming in. Interpass cleaning. Wire wheel slash grind. Oops. And this is more preheat stuff. And it's over our thickness, so we don't care. We're just going to NA out of there. Welding procedure. Pass 1 process, SMAW. $7018 is your filler metal class. Filler metal diameter, let's just go with 1/8 of an inch. Current type again, direct current electrode positive. Amps or wire feed speed. On a WPS, you need to do a range because not everybody's going to have the same kind of machine. The welders, some people like to run it hot, some people like to weld it a little bit cold. As long as it's not dangerous and it's within the range that you give, it's good to go with 1/8 inch 7018. I would say anywhere from 100 amps to 130 would be acceptable, but 130 is pretty hot for going up. Volts, because this isn't MIG, we're going to go NA. Travel speed. The way you calculate this is you get a stopwatch and you lay down a practice bead and then time it and then figure out how many inches per minute you're actually doing. With this, it's probably going to be around, I don't know, 8 inches per minute. So I'm going to give them a range again, like I said. And because it's vertical up, they might travel really fast doing a stringer and do multiple stringers. So I would probably say somewhere around 5 to 11 inches per minute. That's going to ask you for other. So if there's some other thing you want to put in here, you can, but we're not going to. So that's NA. So that's a WPS, and when you print this out, it's not in this little square box, but you have to save it in order to put it into like a PDF. So I'm going to save it as WPS ID number. Normally I put the company down. If they were doing aluminum, steel, or stainless, I'd put that maybe, or the process, depending on however you like to save stuff. The WPS for this is just, we're going to say sample, because we're just doing a sample one. You hit OK, and then I'll save it as a PDF, and we'll look at it that way. Okay, this is the PDF, and you can see all that stuff we just wrote. It's all on there. It's usually about 2 pages for a WPS, and you can see all the stuff we typed in. It's there to the end. And then it has a separate sheet for the actual little drawing we did. And if you were going to become a certified welder, this is what they would hand you and say, okay, perform this. And if you pass bend tests and things like that, you become a certified welder.